So now we can turn this thing off, and now we can check out the PCM and see what's going on with that 630 code. Alright, so here we are, P0630, let's scroll down. VIN not programmed or mismatched. Circuit description applies to internal microprocessor integrity conditions within the engine control module. Diagnostics also addresses if the ECM is not programmed or is programmed incorrectly. Conditions for running, continuously with the ignition on, runs at power up. Let's see. Actions taken when DTC set. The ECM detects internal failure, incomplete or incorrect programming. Now I will be honest with you, I did try to program this ECM just to see, and it does not work. It fails. It just acts like the module's bricked. It immediately fails the programming. It won't even, it lets me in, and then that's it. What's it see here? Low voltage or momentary loss of power or ground ECM may set the code. Make sure the battery cables are clean and tight and fully charged. ECM ground circuits do not have an open or high resistance. ECM power circuits do not have open or high resistance. So this wants us to check powers and grounds at the ECM, unlike the body module, which said forget about it. Then we come down here, ignition on, observe DTC information on scan tool, verify that these codes are not set, which are not. Observe scan tool, 630 should not set. Run it in the conditions. It does not set. If 630 failed this ignition, reprogram the ECM. If it resets, replace the ECM. So that's it's pretty cut and dry. I say we go and we get powers and grounds to the ECM. That'll be the easiest thing to do. And then we'll check them, which I assume are right. The car starts and runs and drives. But you never know. We'll just double check all of those. If the integrity of them is all in well, we'll slap a box in it. We'll program that. And we'll move on with our life. Probably on the first and last diagram is what I'm going to assume here. So here we are. I think I found them on the diagrams. Not very many of them here. Let's see if we can't pop the ECM out of here. At least we don't need any tools. There's our 3 connectors down there. The key is off. Taking the, see if we can't get these all unplugged. Identify who's who. There's X1, X2, and X3. Sounds like my high school days. Get that one unplugged. And of course, service data was no help identifying which one's which, because all the freaking connectors are the same. So hopefully they're labeled down here. Usually they're different colors. We got gray and black. Sometimes service data will tell you which color is which. In this case it didn't. Hey, speaking of exes, there's my ex-girlfriend I'm married. What's up, Mrs. O?
How's it going?
Oh, good. Except we got J1, J3, so maybe this is 1, 2, 3 we'll call it. That's gonna be my guess. Did a paper print out in the printer for me?
I think so.
Will you go get it there, Sissy?
What?
Will you go get the paper out of the printer for me? Printer, paper.
Yeah.
Take your earbuds out. Yeah, let's give it the old college try. We're gonna assume the blue one is X1. That's J1 on the ECM, so let's get Mr. Blue. There he is. And according to the factory diagram, pin number 51 and 52. So 52 should be that one right there. According to the picture, we got a test light hooked to battery negative. I'm just going to stick a T-pin in there very gingerly. We got a light there, and we got a light there. So we have both our powers, and it does appear that J1 and X1 are the same. So blue connector is pin 1. Now let me look for the rest. So we have one more pin here for ignition power. There is 2 more ignition powers, but they're controlled by the ECM relay, which won't have power unless it's plugged in, because the ECM needs to turn the relay on. But it looks like we have pin 70. So let's see, this is 72, 71, 70. So that one should have power. Yep, and that one has power. I don't know if you guys can see it with the bright light here or not, but pin 70 lights up nice and bright. And then the other 2. So we have our 3 powers that are there. And it looks like we should have 2 grounds. one in connector X2 and one in connector X3. So we're going to move the vice grips over here. We're going to go to battery power. We'll just clip them right on this stud. Test light's good. So it looks like connector X2, which is going to be the middle one. That's going to be the black one. So there's the black one. Pin 73, which is the big pin. It's the only big pin in there. That one has power, or good ground, lights up our test light. And then connector X3, which is going to be gray, and that one is also pin 73. So that's the big terminal there. So there, we have our powers, we have our grounds. We can now condemn the PCM and go get a new one. And here we go, just like that. We got a brand new one for Chevrolet. This thing looks like it has been kicking around a while. Tape's broke. How many times have the guy at the Chevrolet garage plugged this thing in? Hopefully not many. Ooh, made right here, America, Chevrolet, baby. So we'll get this down. Let's see, let me go shut the key off and I'll plug it in before I set it down. Let's start with the black. No, let's start with the blue, I mean. Furthest one away. That one's black. That one's blue. And the 2 o'clock just showed up, so we're going to be interrupted here momentarily. Get that one kind of slid on there. Down. Clicked in. We'll find the blackie. Where'd you go, blackie? There he is. Come on. Get that one slid on. Down, clicked, locked.
Your 2 o'clock is here?
I know, Mrs. O, we just said that. Weren't you watching? Oh, she just left. Now we'll get this down. Click, click, boom. ECM's in. Now we gotta program it. Alright, who's still with me at this point? Let's get some data up here on your screen. I know this is boring. I don't know who's still awake. Back when I was a kid, we'd fix cars with WD-40 and a screwdriver. Not anymore, now you gotta use a laptop and a screwdriver. So we're gonna go to ECM module programming and setup. This is without LF1 or LFX. Okay, if the ECM is replaced, the following procedure must be performed. ECM reprogramming, theft deterrent. The ECM will learn the incoming fuel continue password immediately upon receipt of the password message. Once a password message is received and the password is learned, a learned procedure must be performed, change this password again. An ECM which has been previously installed in another vehicle will have learned the other vehicle's fuel continue password and will require a learned procedure after programming to learn the current vehicle's password. Then we have to do the brake pedal, throttle relearn, reset the engine oil life and transmission fluid life. With a scan tool, you can actually, instead of just setting them back to 100%, you can actually select the value. Let's see, setup for replacement. I don't see anything too out of line here. So we're going to go back in here, start SPS. We'll let this get re-rolling again here. We'll turn our key on and we'll flick our headlights off. Roll up the window so nobody can talk to us. We got a flashing check engine light currently. See if we can get this done before somebody else pulls in. And somebody else is already here. That did not work for me. Never works. So like I say, I tried to do this the other day and it didn't work out. Next. Next. And we're 2012. Oh crap, you know what? I don't know if I've got the VIN still stored in my clipboard. Hopefully. If not, we're going to have to type it in manually. What was it? 3GNAL? I can't remember. Because it's not going to be able to pick the VIN out of the ECM, obviously, because it's new. Let's see if it's still on our clipboard. Kablam! Look at that. Remember, hit the backspace once. 3GNAL, yep, that's it. We'll hit next. We'll pick ECM. We'll hit next. Next. Lots of updates on these things too. The oil life monitor, because these things like to spit time and chains and stuff. So there's some bulletins that'll be taken care of here at the same time. Okay, let's go down through here, make sure nothing is selectable. Shouldn't be any options. Enhanced calibration, oil life monitor, yep, for the PO111. Calibration for oil life monitor, check. Nothing is selectable. We will hit next. We can see all our part numbers here are all different, except for the slave operating system. We will hit next. And this is where it failed immediately the other day. Beep, beep, beep. It'd come up, it'd lock up my scan, or lock up the computer and lock up the car. You had to sit here and wait for it to, it goes through like 3 or 6 attempts before it finally, turns all the other modules back on. All right, looks like we're programming. Sometimes the ECMs take a little while longer. And as far as the theft deterrent, I don't know if we're going to have to do the 10-minute or not. I know on some used ECMs I do. Just put a new one in, I think it was a 12 or 13 Chevrolet, was it yesterday, a couple days ago. That was brand new. The guy brought me a new ECM to put in it. Don't know what was wrong with it, just want me to put it in. And that one fired right up. Shut the key off. Waited a minute or so, back on. It relearned and boom. And there we go. Let's turn the headlights back off. It took forever. Like 12 minutes in real time, real life. Let's see. We do have special instructions. We are going to turn the ignition off. We're going to open and close our door. Whoo, it's getting hot up in here. Let's see. We're going to proceed with the same VIN just in case we have to go to theft deterrent. We're going to give it a minute here. So we're going to give her a couple key cycles. Let me set this down so hopefully it relearns the theft. See if we have any lights on. Oh, the lock light is out, so we should be able to start it. Hooray! It starts and runs. We have an oil change light and a service engine soon light. So we're going to shut it off. We're going to have to fire up the old Tech 2 again. We'll just use that because that's in here. We should have an engine light on because the crank variation relearn is not done. Isn't that one of the things we had to do? Crank relearn? I don't know. Brake pedal position, I don't know what codes it's going to have in it, but it should not have the 6, whatever it was we came to get, the 630. That's the only one we care about. Alright, so we're going to unplug that. We're going to plug this little donger in here. I know this is probably the worst video in history, but this is what you got to do to fix cars, folks. I don't make it up. I mean, sometimes I just make it up as I go. I know this thing doesn't show up on the screen very well. That's because it's kind of old school. It's not really old school. So we're going to pick 2012 MPV Chevrolet truck. This is a VIN L Captiva Sport. We're going to go powertrain 2.4 6-speed automatic. It does not have all-wheel drive. We'll turn our key back on. We will pick engine control module, DTC display. Shut our headlights off and see what the survey says. Waiting is what it tells me. I'll wait for it to wait. Present. And 4 DTCs. View all. PO 700. Crankshaft system variation not learned. Theft deterrent not programmed. VIN not programmed. Mismatched. Pass, pass, pass. Let's go like this. We're going to clear out the ones that I've already cleared. We'll hit yes, and then we got to warm it up to do the crank relearn. It's got to be hot because we got to punch it full throttle. not uncommon to have a bunch of code set. You can actually clear codes at the end of the programming there if you feel inclined to do so. I usually just do it with a scan tool because we have to plug it back in anyways. Okay. So we're waiting for it to warm up. I've got everything all put back together, including the I love mom, or wow I, however you look at it. Different perspectives. Everything's back together, snapped back together. I want to see if now it'll auto ID the vehicle. So I grabbed the Altel because the Tech 2 does not have this ability. So we're going to look and see. It should be able to auto ID now because it should have a VIN number. Ta-da! There it is. So we did what we came to do. All-wheel drive, no. 2012 Chevrolet truck. How's that make you feel, Chevrolet guys? That's considered a truck. America, man's truck. Let's see, we're going to go diagnose. We're going to go control unit, engine control module, and we want to see where we're at here. We're still waiting for it to warm up. I don't know how warm it is because it doesn't have a temp gauge. I don't know if I can scroll through the menu. I don't even know how to scroll through the menu. Odometer, trip, odometer, nope. Let's see, current codes, crank variation not relearned. So let's back out of here. Let's go to special functions. Brake pedal position, we can relearn that real quick while we're waiting, because that's one thing we had to do. We're going to hit reset. Procedure in progress, it says reset. So that's good. What do we got? Throttle position. Sounds like she's idling good. So let's go to crank variation relearn. We are going to have to turn off the AC. We're going to hit continue. Engine acceleration should not exceed the calibrated RPM. Release the throttle once the value is outnumbered. Lock wheel, set parking brake. Do not apply brake pedal. Cycle ignition from off to on. Hit OK. Apply and hold brake. Start engine. Turn off AC. Vehicle must remain in parking neutral. Make sure you hold the brake. This is where a lot of people fail on these. Hit OK. And then you're going to want to take it to full throttle if it's warm enough. So right now it wants us to give it full beans until fuel cutoff. Learned and passed, okay? And our engine light is now out on its own. Let's turn this AC back on so we ain't sweating up in here. So we should be able to go to trouble codes, read codes, and it should only be a history code at this point because the engine light went off on its own. We can turn the parking brake back off. Crack our window. Current history. And now we have passed, last test passed, and it is now a history code, so we should be able to back out. We should be able to erase that. Yes, we want to erase that. It gets kind of wonky when you erase it with the engine running on this. It loses comm with the ABS module. Alright, fantastic. If it does that on, you just shut the key off and wait a bit. Let's see, hot functions. We're going to go oil life reset. Auto oil life reset, what's that option? I don't know. Engine oil life, 0% it says. But our light's out. Why does that say 0%? Huh, our oil life went out. I don't know what the auto was, it still stayed at 0. Yeah, it says it's at 100. So you can change that value. Like I say, you hit input value, and if, let's say, for example, this car was at 40%, you know, you reset it. But I believe it's here for an oil change also, if we were able to fix this problem, he was stating. So we'll back out of there. I don't think we have to do any electronic throttle relearn. I mean, we can run through it, but idle learn reset shouldn't make a difference because it sounds. Shut the AC off, turn off any engine loads. We'll reset it. It's reset. We're idling at 900 RPMs. Alright, I think that was everything that we came to do. Let's, whoops, I'm going to let it go through an auto scan. We'll see if we have a bunch of codes and other modules. as results of stuff that we were doing. So we'll let it auto scan, we'll clear them out. Because if you remember correctly, it had no com codes and a bunch of other modules for the body module, so which were all history codes. So we'll get rid of all that garbage. Of course, we got history codes stored in a lot of things here. So anytime you have the key on and you have a bunch of stuff unplugged, like, you know, we had a bunch of HVAC stuff here unplugged, park and brake was unplugged, passenger airbag light, you know, indicator was unplugged, so it's going to have a host of codes in it, which it does. I mean, it's got piles of codes. You know, park and brake's got 5 codes. Oops, I guess we can just go to the report. A lot of these are going to be history codes now, so, you know, not active. So let's see. Yeah, lost com with ABS module. Those are all passed now. That's in the engine module. That's because I tried to clear the codes with the engine running, and for whatever reason, this car does it. Let's see. Lost com with BCM, lost com restraints control module. These are all history codes. History. Park and brake switch. Lost com with BCM, lost com with ECM. Not, like I say, not uncommon, nothing to worry about. All history codes. So we're going to go key on, engine off. Then we're going to back out, and we'll do a quick erase, and everybody should be happy at that point, including you. And there we have it, folks. I assume this one is finished at this point. Got to do a few other things that he wanted done to it. But all the lights are off, so now the car can be driven, or at least registered. No more engine lights. Body functions are functioning. You know, windows go up and down. Yeehaw, AC works. Everything's down here. Park and brake, all that business. So I guess we're done. So we'll leave it at that, fellas. Can't take you for a toot around town because the car has no plates on it. However, be warned, when you hook up the jumper cables on your car, make sure red to positive, black to negative, or however you have them. Make sure it's the same on the jumper car versus the car you're hooking it to, or your little jump pack, which most of them are smart. You can't hook them up backwards, I suppose, unless maybe the battery's completely dead. I don't know. I haven't tried it. I did see when I was on, I didn't fix that. There was some under the B1000, of course it gives you your silver bullet fixes, you know, which parts to change first. There were some people indicating that the car came in and it clearly had the battery hooked up incorrectly. There's a black wire with a white stripe that hooks to the battery negative, and some guys are reporting that somebody changed the battery, Advance Auto, and some of the other places, and they're actually hooking that on the battery positive, and it was smoking the body control module. So that's, I guess, plausible. It may have been the case here. When the car showed up, everything was hooked up correctly, and it started running. Just a big fat assumption. I know these videos aren't the best because they don't have any wrenches. I mean, we use, what, a 10mm and a screwdriver and a, you know, $1,000 bill. You know, by the time you buy these 2 modules, program them, install them, it's an expensive repair. And unfortunately, it has to be done with a lot of expensive tools. But like I say, I didn't build it, I didn't buy it, and I didn't break it. It's just how it is. Don't get mad at me and be like, I thought this was a DIY channel. Well, it's not. It's a shop. It's what I do. So forget about it. But don't forget about going down in that comment box, leaving your questions, comments, criticisms, concerns. Find us on our socials, Facebook, Insty. I don't know if that's the sign for Insty, but I'm on Insty now. I post pictures all the time with Instagram filters. Sweet. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.